Hey everyone, in this video we are going to talk about how to find the slope of a linear function. So we are working on IXL Algebra 2 D6. Find the slope of a linear function. So the first question gives us 2 points and then asks us to figure out what the slope is. We can put our answer as an integer. Those are like numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2, -5, all those numbers. Proper or improper fraction. So make sure to simplify your answer because that's going to be the biggest issue if you forget about simplifying your answer. Let's say you have 10 over 4, your final answer should be 5 over 2 because both of those numbers are divisible by 2. So let's get started. So when you have 2 points to figure out what the slope equals without a graph, the easiest way is applying the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1, which tells you to subtract the y values of both of the points. So this one would be the y value of the first point, the y value of the second point, and then the denominator of the formula would be x2 minus x1, which tells you to figure out the horizontal movement by subtracting the x values of each point. So this would be the first x value, second x value. You could also label the first pair as x2, y2, the second pair as x1, y1. It makes no difference whatsoever. So right here, all you have to do is plug in the labeled numbers. So y2 minus y1 is 4 minus 7, which equals to -3. And then x2 minus x1 is 9 minus 2, which is 7. And then the top was -3. So there's nothing to simplify about this, so that would be our final answer. -3 over 7 is the slope of this given 2 points. -3 over 7. One thing that I want to mention is that negative slopes express lines that goes down from left to right. Here's an example. Negative slope. This is a negative slope. This one here is a negative slope as well. This is a negative slope as well, because from left to right, as you go from left to right, the lines go down. So this one goes down quickly. That has the biggest slope, but the sign is going to be a negative. This one has the smallest slope. The one in the middle has the smallest slope because it doesn't even go down, like not as much as the other two. This one is in the middle. The first one is in the middle. This one is the greatest slope. This one is the smallest one. The one in the middle is the smallest because it doesn't even go down. It's like almost like horizontal. Not horizontal, but pretty close. So that's how you do the slope if you have 2 points given. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Don't mess up. If you put the x's on top, you're going to get a wrong answer. Okay, let's do one more and then skip another level. I don't want to do another. Let's just skip a level. Or let's do one more. Okay, this one here, subtract the y values. When you subtract 8 minus 7, the answer is 1. And then do 5 minus 3, that's 2. 1 over 2 would be your answer. That's how simple it is. You don't need to write down the formula. Just subtract the y values and the x values and see if you can simplify the numbers you end up with. Okay, this right here. Okay. Now we don't have 2 points. We have an equation. A linear equation. So when you have a linear equation, put them in slope-intercept form. It's already in that form, but we don't see y equals mx plus b. Everyone knows what this is, or not the meaning of it, but everyone knows y equals mx plus b. So write that down, figure out the numbers. Like, what's the number in front of x? That's the first thing that you gotta decide. So the number in front of x is right here. That's your m. So this right here, m equals 1 over 2. But what about that plus b? Are we adding anything in originally? Like, is there anything added over here? What's this? What plus what? If you don't see anything, that's plus 0. So that means your b value is 0. Okay? Do we need that b value for this question? What was that for, by the way? B was the y-intercept, the point that your line crosses on crosses the y-axis. We don't need that. All we need is the slope, which is right here. It's the number right in front of the x. 1 over 2 would be the answer to this question. That's how simple this one is. You don't even need to do any work at all. I'll just show you another one without doing any work. But obviously we don't have a equation now. So what's the slope of this one? The graphs are easy. All you do is find 2 points. Okay, like this right here. And then look for the grids. You don't want to pick this point because you don't even know what the coordinates of that point are. I want to pick a point that I can see the coordinates like this. So now at this point you have two methods. One is counting rise and rise over run. I'll show that, method 1. M equals rise over run. What's the rise from one point to the other? I usually start from the left. So from this point to that one at the top, we go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 units. So rise is positive 50 because we are going up. Run is from right here to that point is 2 grids, and that equals to 20 units because the grids go by tens. So 50 over 20. If you put 50 over 20, that's going to be wrong. You need to simplify them. You can divide both of those numbers by 10, which gives you this, 5 over 2. That's the first method. What about the second method? So the method 2, write down the coordinates and then apply the same formula. Y equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. How do I find those? You write down the coordinates of this point. It's over 20, up 0. And then do the same thing for just another point. Doesn't matter. You can use that point or this right here. And the coordinates of the last point would be over 60, up 100. I don't want to deal with bigger numbers. If I can deal with smaller ones, that's what I would prefer. Over 40, up 50. And then plug them in. Y2, x2, y1, and x1. 50 minus 0 divided by 20 minus 0, which equals to 50 over 20. And then same answer, divide both numbers by 10, you will end up with the same answer. Pick one method, stick to it. It's gonna get easier as you do more questions. Okay, 5 over 2 is the answer to this. Let's see if it gets any harder or if you have any different questions. Okay, let's do this one. The equation of line C is given. Line D is parallel. Okay, that word D and C are parallel. D is parallel to C. What that means is the slopes are the same. If this is what you have, the keyword is the lines being parallel, same slopes. Or you can also express it as the slope of line D equals slope of line C. Everything is lowercase. In the lower right corners I have the names of the lines. MD equals MC. When the lines are parallel. So what we do is, the question is the slope of D. Line of C is given. They're asking us about the slope of line D. It's going to be equal to this slope. What's the slope of this one? Remember, y equals mx plus b. M is right here, which is the slope of line C. So the slope of line C is that one. I know if the two lines are parallel, that means their slopes are equal. So the slope of line D would be the same as the slope of line C. So that would be the answer then. So the problem is going to be when the lines are perpendicular. It's not going to be a problem at all. So let me just say, let's say we have a third line, okay? It's called line E. And it's perpendicular to both of these. in that case, the slope of this one would be negative reciprocal. I know you have heard that term. Negative reciprocal means change the sign, flip the fraction. Negative, change it to positive. If it was positive, you would have turned it into negative. Turn it into positive, flip your fraction. Instead of 5 over 2, that would be the slope of another line that is perpendicular to these two lines. So that's going to be the detail that you got to pay attention. Figure out if you're dealing with a perpendicular or a parallel line. In this case, we are dealing with a parallel line, so their slopes are going to be equal. Still parallel. This means their slopes are the same, right? We have two lines, J and K. They are parallel. Their slopes are the same. If one of the slopes is negative 5 over 9, the other one is going to be the same, negative 5 over 9. Okay? If it said perpendicular, you would turn this into positive and flip it. So 9 over 5 would be the answer if this question was about a perpendicular line. I'm looking for a perpendicular line, but still, it still says parallel. It is going to be equal to this, negative 7 over 6. I'll do one more. If there's no perpendicular, I'm done. Okay. So this one, the answer is going to be negative 8 over 9 because it says parallel right here. But if it said perpendicular, what you would do is flip it, change the sign into positive because originally it's negative. So this is if the lines are perpendicular. Since they are parallel, the answer is going to be the same as that slope, negative 8 over 9. So that was all for this assignment. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you need any help or if you have any questions. We worked on IXL D6, find the slope of a linear function, and learn how to find the slope of any 2 points or any given equation. Thanks again, and I will see you in another video.